Blessings. Happy Unrata Sunday. We are in an eclipse portal. This is Sunday, June 30th. We can also reframe the tone of Sunday as Unrata, which Unrata brings it into a zero balancing day, a 0-point energy field where we can reflect on the week in gratitude and to receive the gifts that were experienced, that were given, that were received, that were gifted, and allow the medicine of the gifting of life in the exchange of life force energy to be received on this day, and to allow oneself to be in the zero with all of that. Whereas perhaps in some religious frameworks, this was a day of cleansing off the sins or to make right from the wrongs. We can align ourselves to the energies of this day as giving thanks to the gifts that have been given and received. And this 0-point energy framework is a balancing framework that allows for the feminine energies to be balanced with the masculine energies within your dynamic energy body, so that the child, the inner child, can come out to play. When the masculine and the feminine energies are balanced, when that intention is balanced, the child becomes a 0-point energy field, and then the light can enter, right? So Sundays are the opportunity for this 0-point energy balancing. Every moment, every day is the opportunity for this. This is kind of where we kind of timestamp it a bit and allow for a bigger presence of that, the light to enter the framework. So we're exploring here Ajna Chakra, the third eye center, or we can call it the first eye. This is the all-seeing eye. This is the wisdom keeper, the seat of wisdom, the wisdom voice, the kind of deep, wise elder that connects into the higher self. The endocrine gland is the pineal gland, and the pineal in communication with the pituitary. Okay, the pineal rests between the blood-brain barrier in the right and left hemisphere of the brain, and it is communicating with the pituitary gland, which produces the vasopressin and oxytocin, a lot of like water retaining properties in that vasopressin to allow for the light to be assimilated through the system, through the water of the system, and communicating with the mitochondria and all that movement of information through the cell tissue, right? A lot of this is regulated by the vasopressin, and then the oxytocin is the happy, feel-good hormone, right? I mean, it's much more complicated than that. And, for simplicity's sake, this is what the pituitary gland is doing. And the pineal gland is the messenger, sending these chemicals, sending the information for these chemicals to be released through the pituitary. Pituitary is located behind the bridge of the nose, so back in there. And then the pineal is a little bit farther back between the hemispheres of the brain. So when we are working with Ajna Chakra, we are working with these glands, right? And it is a very specific activations of the spine that actually put pressure into the third eye center. And it's that pressure that stimulates like kind of stresses it a little bit and puts pressure to push and excrete more of these mood enhancement chemicals, right? So we do various yogic practices to stimulate and enhance this quality. And there's many ways, as with anything, so many pathways to get results. And meditation being one of many. There's so many different ways to meditate, but meditation for sure is a way to access the pineal and pituitary gland. It acts almost like, those submarine little probes that look around like this. It acts as an antenna like that's picking up frequencies, right? Or like an AM, FM radio station or a satellite, that's looking for the signal to pick up the TV program that you want to watch. That is the function, that is what the pineal gland is doing. So we are all operating in this quantum field, and human society is a massive framework of collective consciousness. And there's a lot of people thinking a lot of thoughts, and there's a lot of systems that are generating and a lot of the thinking of the thoughts, right? There's a lot of influence on what the brain in the human system is picking up and tuning into. So a lot of outside influences coming in. So the first piece of working with the pineal and the third eye and following intuition and strengthening your intuitive is to be aware of these outside influences coming in and putting some boundaries on those forces so that you can have the space to even have the opportunity, the possibility to even think your own thoughts. There's a lot of unpacking, unlearning, deprogramming, deconditioning that has to happen to be able to have access to authentic, sovereign thoughts. Okay, so a lot of that, the holding some of those mass consumer things at bay so that you can have a clear space to be a sovereign functioning energy field. And that takes meditation, that takes practice, that takes intention, that takes quiet, intentional, meditative space. And many are like, I don't have time to do that. Get up earlier and do that. And then if getting up earlier means you need to take a nap in the middle of the day, do that. Even if you work that corporate job, take that 20 minutes. It doesn't take much time to take a nap and reset. 10 minutes even, 11 minutes, right? So it's just kind of building the frameworks for the life that you want to live are really important. And to access sovereign codes, sovereign energy frameworks where you can balance the feminine and the masculine to allow the inner child to receive the light, it does require space, it does require some quiet moments to be able to clean off the field with your breath, with meditation, with just meditative walking. You can meditate in motion. There's a lot of different ways, right? So, Ajna Chakra, third eye center, the wisdom keeper, the seat of wisdom, the wisdom voice, the one that sees and knows, This is the center of intuition. How do we practice intuition? We practice it. Practice it with your food choices. Rather than following the habit patterns whenever you go into the grocery store, what food, what produce are you attracted to? Do it in the produce section. Don't do it in the prepackaged section, because there's a lot more fillers and all of that when you're reading ingredients lists. And a lot of times sugar addictions and stuff, it's like, oh, I'm attracted to that. And it's like, oh, it's because there's a lot of sugar in it. So maybe not that so much. Practice it in the produce section. Like what smells, what colors, what vibration of food, like what's in season, what looks and feels the most alive to you. What feels and looks more alive to you might look different to me, depending on what my body proteins and needs are. So we're all kind of operating as organisms. We're metabolizing things differently, and we're processing things, in different rhythms. So yeah, let it look very unique for you, and embrace that. Just kind of go in with your own instinct on things and practice it more and more. You're like, how do I know what's intuition and what isn't, and what is fear and what is intuition, and how. So sometimes you don't know until you check it out too, right? I would say fear a lot of times is telling us no. And intuition a lot of times is saying yes and seeing what's inside of it, right? But sometimes to say yes, you have to say no to really know that what the real feelings are. It's a very interesting process. So what I would say is nobody knows what your internal guidance system is saying to do other than you. And sometimes we can get confused on what our inner guidance system is saying to us, because we're getting mixed messages. Sometimes it's a yes, sometimes it's a no. Well, it's kind of like it's yes on some levels, but then you're getting these hesitations and flags over here that it might be a no. And so maybe it's a yes with boundaries, right? If you're having to justify yourself, if you're justifying yourself to yourself or to anyone, we can justify our ego until the cows come home, or whatever that saying is. A lot of times when we're justifying, we are working on an ego level, and our egos are very extensive and very intricate and are valid. So justify your ego, take yourself through that whole process, and then ask for the spiritual quest. Take yourself through the challenge and be sure to look at every piece of life that you can get some sort of information about yourself through. Because if we are resisting any piece of it, we are fearing our own self. And fear is a very strong and very powerful and very real force that we are working with to alchemize and to lift up into a higher vibration of freedom, of love. And love is it is the force. It is the powerful force, and it's the force of alignment. And so we're transforming fear, returning it to love, returning it to alignment. And this process is very intricate. It's very deep. There's no spiritual bypassing around it. We have to go through the journey to to transmute, to alchemize, to transform fear into love. And that is a very intuitive, very personal journey. And it requires a lot of checking in to access the deeper wisdom and to really build a relationship of clarity with that. And it builds. You're not going to have clarity immediate and right away. This is something that develops with practice, with time, with building integrity and self-trust, and ultimately trusting completely yourself. And all the way through, that you've got you, and standing in the face of the most challenging energy, that, cosmic energy, right? Even beyond this body. What are our tests? We're tested here in the form, and we'll be tested beyond the form. And how do we meet those challenges? Have we built the strength in the framework to be able to love ourselves all the way through the dimensions? And to me, that's what this journey is really about. And this strength of Ajna Chakra is such a potent, powerful tool to give us the exercise of alignment, and alignment to our vision, to our mission, to the journey of our soul in this form. What is the purpose? Why are we here? What did we come into this form for? Why were we created in the first place? What is this creation, this spark, this essence of your being that is immortal? We're housed in these bodies in particular right now. Beyond this body, what is your soul doing? What is its trajectory? What is its mission? Measuring the experience not by moments but by lifetimes. We've been working on this for a long time. And connect with your soul's mission. Connect with the purpose, the reason that you are here. And where have you come from and where are you going? Because all of that is going to empower now. And now for sure is a complete miracle. A very purposeful miracle, not a random miracle. So we're connecting with that. We're connecting with you accessing the quantum field, but not the quantum field of the mass collective consumer consciousness. We're going way above and way beyond into your higher self, into solar and galactic consciousness that is gonna give you access to your memory of why you're here. And that's the intentional line that we're connecting with on this journey. Why did you show up? What are you doing here? How are we going to define you? How am I going to notice you out of the sea of billions? What defines you in your energetic frequency? Because it is sovereign to you. It is uniquely you. And how can we define that and enhance that and brighten that and allow those true colors to shine? So I hope this message brings you a sense of curiosity at the very least, and hopefully a creative and exciting pathway to explore more. Love you so much. Happy Unrata.